Born of nuclear radiation and destined to walk the earth forever, welcome to Godzilla Reviewthon! What's up, YouTubers of the world? MegaGeek Mixer here with the fourth installment to the Godzilla franchise, Godzilla vs. Mothra, or as it's now called, Mothra vs. Godzilla, and now as it's called in the English release version, Godzilla vs. The Thing. I don't know what these guys over here in the West do when they be releasing this stuff, where they get this stuff from. But either case, Godzilla, after his legendary fight with King Kong, would go on to face another famous monster, that being Mothra, who's from Japan herself. The malevolent moth would go into the Godzilla franchise. Now, this is regarded as one of the best Godzilla films out there to both fans and critics alike. Why? Well, for one, we got the Godzilla suit, which is very menacing looking. It very much represents the menacing tone that Godzilla was supposed to represent. He looked very angry and everything. Also, the guy in the suit actor, he actually was able to, let's put it this way, he couldn't see inside the suit because he could only reach up to the neck. So it's amazing what they did here. You see, with the Godzilla suit, since he couldn't see, there were times where he would fall over and hit some of those structures, but they were able to take that into the movie and to make it a spot where he would be destroying things, such as the castle. And then he even had his tail stuck to a tower. And there's even one point when the army is attacking Godzilla that the suit, its head catches on fire. But luckily, like I said, he was inside the neck of it, so he's all good. But what really makes this movie is both the monsters and the human plot. Now, for the monster plot, this is what makes it the best movie out there. You see, as soon as Godzilla rises from the sand, he begins going on a complete rampage all across Tokyo. And no matter what the military throws at him, because here's the thing, the military throws all sorts of different things at him, but no matter what, he just keeps getting back up. They use electric towers that seem to have an effect on him and look like they could bring him down, but he just plows right through those towers. They even come up with the idea of using electrical nets, and they even get him down to the ground at one point. But no matter what, he wouldn't go down. You see, this is what is a Godzilla film. It shows how indestructible he is. This is why the movie plot in this one was widely critiqued as one of the best Godzilla films out there. And I cannot completely disagree. I can't disagree at all. It was one of the best Godzilla films out there because even with the military and Mothra also got involved in the picture, which I'll get into why she got involved in the picture here in a minute, because it revolves around the human plot of the characters. But she would try everything, and this was a good Godzilla fight here. Yeah, even though Mothra was on the verge of dying and everything, she gave it everything she had and more. She used gust whirlwinds, pull him by his tail, even used poisonous powders. But even still, no matter what happened, he would never quit. Godzilla would never give up. And just one blast of his atomic ray, and she's already out. Which, when you think about it, moths and fire breaths don't mix well with each other, so of course it's gonna have a major effect on them. But luckily in the end, Godzilla's rampage is brought to an end by the larva Mothras. Now, most people I know don't like this one sometimes because they don't like how a moth or a larval can beat Godzilla. Now, just to set the record straight here, people, if you're a true Godzilla fan, then everybody pretty much knows that Mothra cannot beat Godzilla. Yes, okay, she has beaten him in some films and everything, but here's the kicker to it. She's never been able to beat him alone. It would be like saying with one of Godzilla's arch enemies, King Ghidorah. He hasn't really ever taken him on by himself either. But either way, for all those people out there, yeah, know this. For those of you getting into the Godzilla franchise, know that Mothra, no way in how, can ever beat Godzilla on her own. Sure, these two larval Mothras were able to defeat him, but that's because they used rocks as their coverage, because if they didn't have that, then they would have surely died when facing Godzilla. But let's go ahead and get into the human plot, and that also reveals why Mothra came into the plot here. So in the human plot, it's all about Mothra's giant egg being washed ashore because of a storm. And just like in the original Mothra film, greedy men end up seeing it as a profit. Now in the original, you had that Nelson guy who take those fairies and use her as a profit. This time, they've taken Mothra's egg and used it as a profit and make millions of dollars off of it. The two greedy men, one of them buys it from the village fishermen's, and then this other one he does business with are trying to do everything they can to get even more money as they go. This is where the fairies come in, try to ask them to return the egg, but all those two see is just bling bling with these small little girls and try to capture them. Now this time the girls aren't captured like they were in the original film, and that's when they go and meet the three main characters, two reporters and then a scientist, and explain to them about the egg and why it should be returned to them. And that's how also they meet Mothra. And after hearing about their story, they try to negotiate with them to return it, even presenting the fairies. But once again, those greedy men just didn't listen and just tried to pay those guys, like give them any sort of amount of money they wanted just for the fairies. Since they weren't gonna listen at all, they just left. And Mothra would go back home. And it was there in that time afterwards that Godzilla would rise, start terrorizing everything. And this is how those greedy men met their end. Just like Nelson in the original Mothra, his greediness came to his end. And that's how it ended with these two guys. Although it worked out a little differently. In the end, their business partnership was going a little afar. One of them was getting in trouble by the fishermen who, something about their money not being paid off properly or something like that, or in a way, like the other guy, he was being out of way to keep all the money for himself. The other guy saw it, tried to steal his money, but didn't get away with it because he got shot by the other person, and then he himself was killed by Godzilla, who destroyed the hotel they were in. Now, with Godzilla's rampage, the other three main characters, the two reporters and the scientists, went to Infant Island to get Mothra's help. At first, they refused, but after hearing the lady's plea and reasoning, Mothra decided to help, but not before being warned she wouldn't be able to come back alive. And so that's where it is, and that's where it came. Godzilla and Mothra went head to head, and like I said, she ended up doing a fair deal, good amount of battling, but she ended up getting hit by his atomic breath and then dying, then hatched out those larvas that came and finished the job. And that's pretty much exactly how it all went down. You see, oh, and here's another thing I forgot to mention. When Mothra was coming in, right when she finally was brought in aside by the humans, Godzilla had found her egg and was staring at it. Now this I've always wondered, would Godzilla have cracked the egg, or what would he have done if Mothra hadn't shown up? I would like to definitely know that. Tell me what you guys probably think about that in the comment section down below. But either way, now you guys understand why this is regarded as one of the best Godzilla films out there, because it shows how incredibly superior Godzilla is to military and Mothra. Well, maybe not superior, but how indestructible this guy is. It was almost like a callback to the original film, how like nothing would stop him. Tanks, no, not tanks, not different sorts of strategies they use, such as those electric weapons, or some of the military scenes where the US shot these giant missiles. He just wouldn't go down. This is why even I believe this is one of my favorite Godzilla movies. It's definitely up there in my top 10. But in either case, that will be all for the day in Godzilla Reviewthon! And I will be back with the next review on the next 5th entry of the Godzilla franchise. And until then, MegaGeek Mixer signing out. Bye!